Hi guys, and welcome back to Raymore Repair. Today's video is going to be rebuilding these forks on the old 2005 CRF450 because we've got some leakers. Wow, that wasn't super duper over tight. Now the axle needs a little tappy tap tap. And I think it's going to need to continue to have some tappy taps. Well, I wasn't able to get a wrench around this because it sets too close to these aftermarket clamps for the Pro Taper bars. So we're going to do our best to do this on the bench. All right, we got our fork up here in the vise, and we're going to go ahead and remove the button because this is held in with really tiny threads, and I don't want to break it off. Yeah, that worked pretty good. We couldn't get a socket on these or a wrench to loosen them in the bike. That would have been ideal. But this worked. Alrighty, we got that loose. We're going to go ahead and dump our fork oil out of it. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm going to screw this back in here until just the O-ring starts to touch. I'll put the pan back on the floor because that's where we're going to need it most of the time. We'll turn this upside down and go ahead and get the cartridge loose. Make sure we're focused right. There's a nut inside of here, and it also has the adjuster in it. And we're going to back this adjuster completely out. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're about 17 notches from all the way out. That's where it was set at. Now we're going to go ahead and knock this loose, if it's possible. I just stick the axle through here to have something to hang on to. That works pretty good. That's the axle hole's all boogered up. There we go. Move this around here. Make sure we're still focused. We are. And dump this loose. There we go. Get that out of the way. For now, we'll bring it back in just a moment. All right, we're out of the threads. I can hear it clicking. Next thing we need to do is we're going to take this thing and we're going to put it under the cartridge to hold it up. So stick our axle back in here so we have something to pull on. We're going to pull this down like this and then stick that in there like that. Now we'll take this nut off the end of our damper rod. Ooh, boy, that was almost the end of the threads. That is no bueno. We're going to screw that down some. Not sure why that was like that, but it won't go back like that. I'll pull that down and let that go back into the fork. Get our dust seal up. The other fork is the one that's leaking, but we're going to go ahead and do this one too, just to get fresh oil in it. And we have seals, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now that snap ring's out, we can go thump, 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 and try to knock this up out of here. There we go. Alrighty, now we're going to flip this back over and take the damping rod out of it. Alright, we're out. Now we're going to take and just pull this up out of here. It just fits down in there really snug. And we're just going to bring it up like that and see if we can pull it up by hand. And if we can't, we're going to work it up just a bit more. We're going to be really careful on those aluminum threads. I'm going underneath the threads. There we go. Now it's going to come out. We should be able to just pop this baby up out of here. Yep. We'll let that sit there and dry for a while. Now we can take this up and pull this sweetheart up out of here. Now this has a bunch of oil in it still, so I'm going to go ahead and drain it into our pan down here. And that's pretty much disassembled as far as we're going to disassemble. Let's just do a little recap here. Or set that there and let it drain. But this is what we end up with. We have our inner cartridge. We have our valve body right here. We have our inner fork tube, our outer fork tube. This is the adjuster that goes in the bottom, the nut that goes in the bottom of the fork. Of course, the fork spring here. So, okay, I'm going to clean some of this stuff up, and then I'll be right back and we'll put it back together. That wasn't completely true. We're not quite done disassembling this yet. We need to take our bushings and our fork seal and dust seal off this shaft. So we'll cover that real quick. And this first bushing has a slit in it. Just take any screwdriver, stick it in here and twist until it becomes larger than its groove, and then just simply work it off. We'll work this one off. Washer, fork seal itself, and then the dust seal. And that makes this shaft pretty much naked. So now we'll clean everything up. We're using the 51490 MEN003 genuine Honda fork seals. This baby's out of the bag, and this bag is useful because it's going to be our fork seal protector when we go to put it together. We're going to flip this baby inside out. And that's what we're going to use to put these forks back together. I'm going to bring you back out just a little bit. Alrighty. First thing, we're going to go ahead and put our inner tube back together. So we're going to take and find our seal here. We want to lube these just a bit. And we'll take and run most of this back through here. And then we'll slide this baby down over it. Like that. What we're doing is, there's a really sharp edges right here where that bushing sets, and we want to make sure we don't get our seal caught on those. So after that, we want to put our snap ring on there. And then we want to put the actual fork seal on. We'll do the same thing with it. We're just using some fork oil. And we're going to lubricate this just a little bit. You're probably out of frame, sorry about that. Then we'll slide our baggie back on here again. And once again, we'll run most of it back through the fork seal. And then we'll slide that baby down on here. I want to make sure we're going the right way. Nope, we were going the wrong way. Get down past that sharp edge. Run our seal down. Now we want to make sure our seal has the writing facing out at any time, and it does now. So we're good to go with that. Backing washer. Upper bushing. And then the lower bushing that sits in the groove. There we go. That shaft is pretty much reassembled back together. So next step we're going to do is we're going to take care of our cartridge. We need to top this off to right about here. And then we'll put our cap back in there. And then we'll dump the excess back out. I'm going to put my fingers over these holes. Thumb and a finger over the hole. And I'm going to just watch down in here. About there. Oil level's about there. Now there is a specification for this, but after you do a few of these, you kind of get an idea where it needs to be. Now we need to bleed this. So we're going to take our rod and just run it up and up. And make sure our fork oil doesn't get higher than the holes. And one more time ought to do it. Now we'll take a look at our oil level again. It is down just a bit after we got the air out of there. So we're going to top it off just a touch. You seen a little bit come out of that hole, didn't you? Yeah, well it ain't that high, but I did slop it around a bit. Now I'll take this sweetheart and put him back down in here. And he just kind of ooshes and gooshes oil around. It has to push it through the shim stack to go down. You're going to see a little bit come out there. It's not too alarming. We're not all the way down yet. We need to keep going. That last part pushes hard. Now then we'll get our socket and screw this back down. There, we'll just tighten it up. That's tight enough. She don't need to be super tight. He fell out of his groove. He's back now. That's seated. Now I'm going to bring a fork seal down. Start it in there. We'll do the same thing. Use our fork seal drivers. Give it a tap. So I can see the groove in there for the snap ring to set in. We'll put our snap ring back in. Give it a nice little shove down until it clicks in. There we go. And it's all around. Then we'll take and put our dust seal on. There we go. Fork seal goes in. Cartridge goes in. We'll lightly set this in place until the O-ring seats. Alrighty, we're going to push this back down and catch our put our axle in there. Run this down. We're going to catch this with this. Oh, wrong side. There we go. Woo! Wrong side indeed. That baby goes in there. And our nut. Get our 17 wrench. Hold our nut still. And our 21 socket. Whoop. And we'll snug this down. There we go. Whoa. Then we'll seat this back in here. Give it torque. There we go. Set this back in, or 18 clicks. There we go. That one's set back to where it belongs. Pull the axle back out. Flip this baby back over again. All right, 382 cc's of oil going in this sweetheart. So that's what we're going to pour in it. There we go. Now, we did not put new bushings in this thing. We did not put new O-rings in it. This is what the guy wanted done, so that's what we're doing. We're going to snug this up just a touch. And that's it. This fork seal is done. This fork, it's got fresh oil in it, fresh seals. Everything else is still in pretty good shape. Tighten this up. Just don't want much on that one either. All right, these bottom bolts are only torqued to 16 foot-pounds. The top one's only torqued to 15 foot-pounds. And what I'm doing is I'm going back and forth until they don't turn anymore before they reach torque. These two work together, so when you tighten one, then the other one's going to be a little looser. So you go back and forth until you can hit torque without the bolt actually turning, then you know they're both torqued like they should be. Just makes sense, doesn't it? I think so. Okay, we got the forks done. We're going to go ahead and mount the front tire and brakes and all that kind of stuff. So let's mount our fork guards and then move on to other things. All right, let's see, this one goes on this side. And we need, let me grab a T-handle to put these back in with. Now I took these out with the impact wrench, electric impact, but I do not like putting them back in. They go into aluminum threads, and if you mess the threads up, it sure makes your job a lot harder. We'll torque those down. We'll flip this around and get this one in here. That'll do. Like that. Now we'll do the easy side. Tap that in. All right, our front axle nut, 65 foot-pounds. There we go. 65 pounds a foot. Tire still turns well, and that is the forks, guys. That finishes up the forks for us. Hey, go down in the comment section and let me know what you'd have done different, what I did wrong, and all that. I have pretty thick skin. I can handle it. And make sure you like the video, subscribe if you would. It helps me out. It doesn't cost you a thing. And we'll go ahead and put our pinch bolts in and this. Whenever we get done here, I need to bounce the front end up and down before I tighten these up. So that's a ways down the road. Thank you for watching, and God bless.